I've struggled like everybody on how to get through the pandemic. And art is my passion and my go-to. And there's a point in my life when I would have said I'm not an artist. Somebody had to talk me in to being an artist. And we're in my art room, which is just covered with art because creating makes me feel better. I'm a maker, just like everybody at the Sewing Labs, I'm a maker. So I've had some days where I couldn't even get motivated to do art. I was really stuck is kind of the right word. Some people might say unmotivated, but it was more than that. It was depressed and stuck in, I didn't even want to go do the easy thing like watch TV or something. I didn't want to do anything. And so I journaled, I art journaled. The thing about journaling and art journaling in particular, art journaling can be anything. It can look just like words and still call it art journaling. But if you have 6 different colored markers and you're writing in colored markers and you maybe draw a design, a mandala on the page to start with, all of a sudden it's art. And you're tapping into, even though I'm writing, I'm going to show you a page, an art journal page, even though I was writing, which is typically the left side of my brain, I was tapping into the right side of my brain because I was using colors and shape and exploring ideas that I hadn't looked at before. And doing this in itself helped me to get unstuck. But what this art journal page is all about is being stuck. So I took I did this not knowing where it was going. That's the thing about art. You never know where it's going. And if you don't think you're an artist, all you have to do is allow the next idea to bubble up and say yes to it. And I'm not trying to get to anything that's beautiful or something I can put on my wall. I'm looking for something that's going to tell me more about myself so I can become the better version of myself. I knew unmotivated and stuck wasn't the best version of myself. So it says almost totally and completely unmotivated. And I drew a circle and then I just started writing in a circle, around a circle. And then I ended up with all these different things. I didn't know where I was going. I just listened to the intuition and I ended up with all these different things that I could do. So for example, I could sew masks. I could pull weeds. I could do art. I could paint. I could go for a walk. I could write poetry. I could clean up clutter. I could listen to a book on Audible. The thing is that I could call a friend, nap, go driving. But here's the thing. Some of the things on this list are really hard to do. Like, who wants to go pull weeds when it's 90 degrees outside? Writing poetry isn't your cup of tea. But so what I did was I made a little copy of this and I put it in my prescription bottle. And the directions are, when unmotivated, break this open, shake one item out, and no matter what it is, I have to do it. So let's say today was, so here's all the little activities. I pick this, I have to do it, whether I want to or not. That's the prescription. And so just having this has kept me out of unmotivated because I don't want to go pull weeds. I'm gonna go ahead and read one of these. We'll just see. Is it a good one like paint, or is a bad one like clear clutter in the basement, you know? Journal. Okay, well that could lead me to a place where I get unstuck. And just by going and opening this and being willing to follow the instructions of choosing one might help me get unstuck. These are more elaborate art journal pages. You know, I don't feel strong or brave, but I can act like I am. I started out this one wondering, I didn't know what I was feeling or what I was thinking. But it turns out that I came to this thought that I'm being altered. This whole experience is altering me. And as I worked through that, you know, like when you're painting little dots or you're just painting color, that right side of the brain and the intuition takes over, and suddenly I know something that I didn't know before. And what this says is that with all the coronavirus worries, I can see that I'm being altered, but who's doing the altering? And I could stop right there, and that would be a great sentence for you to take into your own journal. Who's doing the altering? Started out talking about my prescription, but I think just in going through that journey, I've made the point that you start where you are, and you allow, I allow the process to take over. And that can happen on a single piece of copy paper. It can happen in some cheap sketchbook that you buy at Michael's or right now online. Or it can happen, and we can look at this other ways, it can happen in a little journal that you make for yourself.